Then I'll start with the preliminary matters. Richard Ricker, chairman of the Shrewsbury Housing Authority.
This conference will now be recorded.
To October 13th, Shrewsbury Housing Authority meeting. All members and participated on the agenda are present and can hear me. But before I do that, let me just say that in light of the ongoing COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, Governor Baker issued an emergency order on March 12th, 2020, allowing public bodies greater flexibility. Utilizing technology to contact the greatly valued.
Richard, we can't hear you.
You keep cutting out. Away.
Richard, you're cutting in and out. That's what I said a minute ago. Your sound goes down, then it comes back. I don't know what the issue is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it better? All right, let's try this again. I don't know how far you heard me go. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. In light of the ongoing COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak, Governor Baker has issued an emergency order on March 12, 2020, allowing public bodies greater flexibility in utilizing technology in the conduct of meetings under the open meeting law. Greatly values the Housing Authority, greatly values participation.
You're garbled again.
Again.
Yeah.
Richard, maybe you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March
ahead.
12, 2020 order suspending provisions of the open meeting law and his subsequent March 15, 2020 order imposing limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Shrewsbury Housing Authority will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. All meetings and hearings listed in the agenda. Yeah, am I good? All meetings and hearings listed in the agenda will also be done through remote participation. Specific information on these guidelines for remote participation for public and/or parties with the right and requirement to attend can be found on the Housing Authority website. For this meeting, voters of the public wish to listen may do so by visiting the link posted there. No in-person attendance of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we'll post on the town's website with a video recording, a transcript, or other. To participate in this meeting, please dial in the number on the website and enter the following PIN as found there. Please mute your device. At this point, the chairman will commence the meeting.
As a preliminary matter, can everybody hear me?
You keep coming in and out. You look away. I think if you talk to the computer, it might be a mic issue. But yes.
All right, this is Richard Ricker, chairman of the Shrewsbury Housing Authority. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Paul Campanello.
Present.
Catherine McSweeney.
Present.
Vigent. Gail Vigent.
Present.
All right. Bruce Pardee.
Present.
All right. Is that the extent of our membership here?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I call
I don't know
you.
I was going to say, I don't know if the chairman, I'm sorry, if the director needs to be old. I'm not sure.
After I call your name, please respond in the affirmative.
Present?
Kelly, do we have any other staff present for the meeting?
We do not.
Do we have anticipated speakers on the agenda, Kelly?
We do.
All right, and as I understand it, that speaker is a Robert Anderson, is that correct?
Yes.
And is Robert Anderson with us? Robert Anderson, are you with us?
He is with us.
I think I see him. Robert, can you hear all right? Okay. Paul, you did all the introductions as far as the phone call in and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. We will turn to the first item on the agenda now. Before we do so, let me cover a couple of ground rules. Please, I will introduce each member, each board member, or staff member will have to lead on a particular item, or guest speaker, or so.
I can't hear you, Richard.
Jesus.
do you think it might be worthwhile, Richard, to log off and log back in? Maybe it's a bad connection.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Sorry, folks. Be right back.
Okay.
Paul, am I still just a snapshot?
Yep.
Can you guys see me?
No.
No.
I'm back.
And you sound better.
Oh, okay. That's good. All right, so, and Robert Anderson, are you with us?
He's on mute, but I saw him nod his head.
Good. Okay, as with prior meetings, if someone wishes to speak, please, let me know. If you're done speaking, mute your mic if you don't mind. That would be useful for all of us to proceed. Going to the agenda, we'll start first with the minutes for September 8th.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes for the September 8th meeting as printed.
All right,
Second.
Paul,
Second.
who made the second?
Kathy?
Is there any further discussion? There is none.
So Richard, your problems with your mic, when you look away and talk, you totally cut out. Your mic needs to be straight on. I've been testing my little theory and it's definitely the situation.
All right. My
Perfect,
mic is
right now.
on my laptop, so
Right.
so I'm
Just
trying
talk to the mic.
to pay attention to all the paperwork at the same time. All right, I will. Here. All right, so we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Paul Campanello,
Aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
Gail Vigent,
Aye.
and Richard Ricker says aye as well. So that. Next item is the bank account balances and the treasurer's report. Any questions, comments, discussion about that?
No.
Aside from the fact that the balances look fine. Has anybody got anything they want to say? Or if not, we'll move to the vendor accounting check register. Any questions, comments, discussion about that?
No, it's remarkably low. Maybe the lowest I've ever seen. It's like half of its normal value and it's been 4 weeks. So that's interesting. But
It is.
no comments beyond that.
It is remarkably low. What is it? All right, anybody else? If none, we'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the vendor checks in the amount of $57,009.47.
Second.
Motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go to a roll call vote. Paul Campanello,
Aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Gail Vitchens,
Aye. Did you call my name?
I did.
Aye. I didn't hear it.
And Richard Ricker says aye as well. And then we'll go to the next item, which is the portability register.
I'd like to make a motion for the portability check register, 3 checks totaling $3,054.92.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote. Paul Campanello,
Aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
Gail Vigent,
Aye.
Richard Ricker votes aye as well. Now we'll go to the landlord.
I'd like to make a motion for the Section 8 checks, 137 checks in total, totaling $133,192 even.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we will go to a roll call vote. Paul Campanello,
Aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Gail Vigent,
Aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
Richard Ricker votes aye as well. Okay. Next item on the agenda is payroll.
I'd make a motion to approve the payroll as printed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Paul Campanello,
Aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Gail Vigent,
Aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
and Richard Ricker votes aye as well. Thank you. Unanimous all around. Okay. So, correspondence, Kelly, this is yours.
This is mine. I went to the virtual conference on the 15th and 16th. There was 200 other housing authority personnel on these virtual conferences. Most was refresher classes, had to do with open meeting laws, repositioning public housing, HUD updates, procurement during the pandemic, lease enforcement, annual plan, and rent. It was very informative.
Good. And was there any other correspondence that we need to know about here?
There is, in the back of your packet, you will see a 47-page budget guidelines that was issued. And they're looking.
Well, hold on, Kelly. I think that's new business and we have to go through all the vacancies and stuff. If it wants to keep it in order.
It's part of the Mass Narrow budget guidelines. So I just included
All right.
that at the end. It's the public housing notice 20-30.
Never mind, my bad.
The one thing you guys should look at is the budget guidelines provide a 4% reduction to housing authority budgets. This is when James comes out and does that whole big spiel. These are the guidelines that he has to follow. But we're looking at a 4% reduction. There's also guidelines to provide several new policy measures to assist with the budget property.
They're going to give you help in figuring out how to deal with the budget shortfall?
They will. Shrewsbury Housing Authority is really okay at this point because we have been collecting all the rent. Other housing authorities are not so lucky as we are with people paying their rents. And that's the housing authorities that are going to get hurt.
So we're actually fairly well. That's what we've been with. All right. Anybody have any questions, Kelly? Can you
No.
hear?
Yes.
Yes, we can, no questions.
Okay. All right. So moving along. Any other correspondence, Kelly?
The next one is a board member certification program that is coming up. Most of you have already taken, but this is just a refresher class. If anybody's interested, just let me know.
Anybody interested? Just let Kelly know. All right.
Yeah, I have a question, Kelly. I don't see the dates on here.
So it's basically just online classes. So if you want to, we just have to email Jen Polito and she'll sign you up for the online classes.
And send me the coffee and lunch and all materials that are indicated in here?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll be waiting.
Okay. Is that it for correspondence, Kelly?
Yeah, no more.
Okay. All right. So we'll go now to the vacancy reports.
No vacancies.
I can see that.
Great.
So nowhere do we have vacancy, huh?
Not in state. In federal, we do.
We have one.
We do have one. Maintenance is in the apartment right now, making it get ready. We have sent out offers. I can tell you it is a Shrewsbury resident that is responding.
Woo-hoo.
Great.
Good news.
Very good news.
All right. Okay. Section 8 report shows that we're right at the stump. We're fully released.
Yes, and Richard, you're going in and out again.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, when you lift your head up and talk to the mic, it's perfect. When you put your head down, we can't hear you. You have to talk straight into the mic. Which probably means the mic on your laptop is failing, but that's,
Does it mean that it's failing?
it might. I mean, when you talk directly to the mic, we hear you fine. When you go like this or this, we can't hear you at all.
Okay.
But we hear you
Okay.
fine right now.
Okay. Here, we're through the vacancy reports, and as you can see, we're through with the section 8. Well, we're fully leased, and you can see the activity. Moving along. We have the village report for the month. As you can see, it is up a little bit from last month. We have a two-shot clinic. We added at the end there, put 30. She's got 30 there. Is that
Yes.
Is that the total of all of the various calls, Kelly?
So she helped with the flu shot clinic. Out of all of our residents, only 30 responded and got their flu shots. Every year we partner with Walgreens, and 30 people showed up for their shots.
Okay.
And she also helped 30 other people. So it was a busy month for Shirley.
Okay.
Do we offer this at other facilities or just at the towers?
It's offered to every single resident. But since the community room here is the biggest and we could have it spaced out, everybody comes here.
Okay.
And we did have a couple from Francis Gardens who took the van for the flu shots.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions about this report?
No.
Okay, and as you can see, there's the notice for the flu shot clinic, which was posted.
Yes. Posted and passed out to everyone.
What's this next item here, Kelly? Chapa?
The item is the economic bill that has to do with the resident commissioner.
Okay.
So last month, there was a couple of questions you wanted me to find the answers to. In doing that, I emailed Senator Moore's office and asked, one, how long will the tenant be elected for? And basically what they said is DHCD is going to have to put out guidance on this issue so everyone knows what they're supposed to do in order to implement the law.
We kind of figured that from last time. We kind of figured that DHCD was working on the legislature,
Again,
and they keep on working on it.
this has been going on since 2014.
So we still don't have any very direct guidelines.
We do not. The answer to question 2, if we already have a federal resident commissioner, does that take that person's place? And their answer was, if we already have a federal appointment or elected tenant, the town can request a waiver for the length of the person's term.
When they say the town, do they mean us, the Shrewsbury Housing Authority? Or-
No, they're in the town, the selectmen in town.
I read that it had to be done every year, the way I read it.
Paul,
Did you hear me?
No,
try it again.
I said, the way I read it, that waiver had to be done every year. Every year we had to take a poll and say that there was no one else or something like that, or at least that was the tie between federal and state that I'm referring to perhaps. If you just scrolls down, that was question 2. If you scroll down, right there,
Yeah, I agree.
scroll back up, please. Right there.
so, and that's
Right.
basically saying we have a federal resident. Every year, we have to send out asking if anybody would like to run for a federal resident commissioner. So this would take the place.
Right, so once we do it, we have the federal one, the federal person's elected, then we can ask the selectmen to do a waiver so that there is an appointment, is how I interpreted this.
But this goes out to everybody. So everybody in state housing, everybody in federal housing, and all my Section 8 tenants. But what they're saying is the federal residents will get preference over the state.
Okay, so all you need is one resident of the federal building, right, to run. And then all the notices you sent out to all the other residents don't count.
Basically, that's what it's saying.
Okay. Everybody understand that?
Kind
Yeah,
of.
is
Wasn't
that
that clear to me? And it has to be renewed every year. Read section 11(2)(b), the whole thing. Starting with you, I wish you could see my mouse. The waiver shall be valid for 1 year and may be renewed on 1-year terms until the extension of a member's term. So it doesn't count for the member's term. It has to be done every single year in perpetuity, whether it's a 3-year term or a 5-year term. And we don't know the term, but no matter what the term is, the way I read it is that has to be annually renewed regardless. That was my interpretation of that.
I agree. I think that's the way they're looking at it.
All right, so
Isn't that what we generally have been doing, a 1-year term and just a renewal on that?
We've
yeah,
never sought a waiver from the town, Gail, and you're back to being live.
Ah.
whatever it's worth.
right. We've never sought a waiver from the town.
Right.
It appears that we should be.
My only concern here is, and we'll do whatever makes sense for the authority, of course, but we run the risk of constantly it's an administrative headache. Every single year, we run the risk of not being in compliance if we didn't do the waiver. And to your point, we've never done a waiver, at least on my watch. I have no recollection of ever doing such thing.
Because we have not had to, because this bill hasn't gone through.
Understood. I'm just saying, so it's a little bit of a, sure, you can do it this way, but then you need a waiver, and you got to do the waiver every year, and you got to let everybody else know that they can run, even if you're not going to count them. That's how I read it. It read a little left hand, right hand to me. I read it a couple of times. Richard, I'm a lawyer, but I thought it was unclear.
I agree. It's confusing. But
Aren't the federal terms 1 year? Is that something we do, Kelly, or is that the mandate that came down? It was a 1-year term.
This is our term. It doesn't say it's a year in an email from Ty Pope. She just wants to know that we're going out every year and looking. But if we renew a residence contract, resident commissioner contract, I believe it can be more than a year, just like.
wait a minute. But we're not talking about a residence contract. We're talking about election.
A residence election, I'm sorry.
And with respect to the election, if Ty Pope is telling us that we need to go out every year and look for residents to see if there's some run, that, I think from that we can infer that it should be a yearly election. Does everybody agree with me? I think that's where we're heading, is the yearly election, where we have established. Right now, just so you know, we have until December 31st of 2020 to get our act together and put together an election for a tenant representative on the resident representative.
Richard, you're garbled again.
I don't know why. It's probably a connection issue. I just don't know what's going on. But right now, we have to move forward, I think, with an election before December 31st, 2020. Correct, Kelly?
Yes, because Bruce's term expired in May.
Okay, so
It did?
because of COVID-19, we have been allowed to hold off scheduling another election at this stage, at least until December 31st. So,
Richard, you're fading again.
this is awful.
You keep coming in and out. I heard you say this is awful loud and clear, but the previous.
What's that, Jody? All right, so here's the problem. Are we satisfied that we can run an election now, even in light of COVID-19? Yes, Paul.
I was saying probably not. I mean, probably not. We could, but the running of the election with COVID would make it very difficult.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how successful that would be.
Under
Right.
under the present regulatory authority, which is 24 CFR, section 19, under the present regulation, we have until December 31st to get this done, right? That tells me that we may see another extension in light of COVID-19. Because it's difficult to run an election because you can't deal with people.
Right.
Now, I suppose what we could be talking about is a mail-in type of vote with our residents. In which case, we'd have to figure out how to do that in a manner that nothing gets missed, nothing gets lost. Yes, Kathy.
Since we have an elected official, can we apply for the waiver and then do this in May like we usually do? No. Kelly's saying no.
I think we can extend it as a board. I believe you guys can extend it till December 31st, 2020. And then redo, like in the month of December, that we're gonna send out if COVID is going down. So we're gonna start the election for a resident commissioner.
And then their term would run December to January, unlike everyone else's term, which is May to May.
Or you can extend it for 5 months and then redo it. That is something that you guys can do. It just needs to be done every year. And right now, Bruce's has expired due to COVID, but it can be on a waiver till December 31st, 2020.
Which is coming up.
Yes.
So if we're going to have an election, we have to get ready to do it. The question is how, because, the regulations require that resident elections must adhere to certain minimum standards regarding election procedures, including that all procedures must fair and frequent election of residents at least once every 3 years for each member. That's what that regulatory authority section says. So, but it also goes on to say that because of them recognizing that it may not be possible as a result of COVID-19 public health actions, they're waiving the regulation to allow public housing authorities to delay resident elections beyond a 3-year limit if necessary. So we know we're beyond Bruce's stated election time. In any event, the delayed election must be rescheduled and held as soon as reasonably possible once circumstances permit. That's what it says. The period of availability of this waiver ends on December 31st, 2020. So the way I read that is that we've got to do an election by the end of the year. So the question is, are we going to do it by mail?
So we can do a mail, or we can pass out notices like we normally do to every single resident, and give them a blank envelope, and have a box, and to put them all in a box.
I think I don't have a problem with that, except that you can't use a blank envelope. I think you have to do the absentee ballot type of thing, which is an envelope.
Wait, didn't I read this also applies, and I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud, to all Section 8 residents as well?
Yes.
So we don't even, they're scattered throughout the town. They're not even in one place.
It doesn't seem reasonable this year. It just doesn't.
I just don't see how we're going to be able to do it. Kelly, I think you're going to have to go back to DHCD or to, the feds and see what their guidance is going to be.
Okay.
Are there any other boards that you know of, Kelly? Or authorities that are trying to put an election on at this time?
I know of authorities that don't even have a 5-member board.
So we're better than most, but
Better than most.
We're more populated than most.
Yeah.
I like to do better.
I'm just concerned that how we're going to do the selection. I don't know. When they tell you that you have to send notices to all of the Section 8, to all the families, to everybody, this could be a difficult thing for you to pull off, Kelly.
Right. Because the Section 8 checks go to the landlord, not the tenant. So it would be, you can't even stuff envelopes that way.
Right.
We can do it.
You can do it, Kelly?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you come up with a plan?
All righty.
Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
I know we can't meet outside of a formal meeting, but I also know, I believe I know, the open meeting law allows us to disseminate information without discussing it. My concern is we're now in the middle of October. Her next meeting, if she comes up with a plan and we wait a month, that puts us in the middle of November, giving her, call it 45 days to execute on that plan. I would respectfully ask this committee to let Kelly disseminate the information of her plan to us when it's ready, this week, next week, whatever. I don't want to, make an unreasonable request. And then maybe we have a quick emergency call, emergency online, subject to the appropriate open meeting laws, for the sole and express provision of reviewing the singular one agenda item, which is the plan feasible? Do we approve it? Can she execute it? Do we have questions, et cetera, et cetera? I don't mean to make more work for anyone on this call, but if we wait for a plan for a month, I have grave concerns about it getting pulled off in the remaining 4 to 6 weeks of the year.
I do too, and that's a good point, Paul. I think that we also have to, however, ask Kelly to go kind of in two directions. One is put together a plan if she can. The other is, in case we can't meet the December 31st deadline, to determine what other housing authorities are doing about it.
So that's what I'm saying. I'd like her to do all that and email us all the information, and we know we're compliant if we don't discuss it. And then whether it's next week or in 10 days or whatever, we get together for an emergency meeting with the sole expression of reviewing her, what I will call on this call, her plan A, her plan B, her plan C, and we say, go do. And then we're not coming into the November meeting, what I would consider essentially panicked.
All right. Does anybody else have any comment about this?
That
I
makes
think-
sense to me.
I think it's a good idea, Paul.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's a good idea.
So we can plan on a special meeting being called within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Yes.
for a
That
singular
makes
agenda
sense.
item.
With
With
just-
just one agenda item, she'll send us all the information. We can all read it. We can all have our questions. And it's probably a 30-minute meeting. We open it, we discuss the agenda, and we close it.
We do it as soon as we can, because if we have to make changes, then we're gonna maybe even need another meeting.
And or maybe by the time the October meeting, the November meeting comes, we're locked and loaded and she executes the day after the November meeting, because we would have had, that meeting to approve it and review it or whatever. Kathy, you okay with that?
Yes, definitely. Good idea.
That is a good
That would be
idea.
my recommendation. I don't think, you don't need a vote for that, do you, Kelly? I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
Kelly,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
You need to go through the chair, which is Richard Ricker.
I suppose,
Okay, I'm sorry, Richard, can I ask a question?
and this is, who are we speaking to?
Yeah, my name is Robert Anderson. And I'm a resident of the Towers 201.
Okay, just
And,
as a matter
okay.
of just so the board knows, Mr. Anderson did file with us a board meeting agenda item request form. He signed it and said we would like to know why there has not been an election for a new resident commissioner. So I think this is an appropriate time for us to hear him. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, I do apologize. My question is, when you send out these ballots, is there gonna be just one name on the ballot, or like if I wanted to be considered, can I be put on the ballot?
I think that's something we have to figure out. How this would go, whether you're gonna get blank ballots and people fill them in, or whether there's gonna be a slate that is put together by the.
I have the form.
Well, the question is the form gonna have names on it, Kelly?
It's asking if anybody would like to run for a resident commissioner.
Okay, so
that tells me it would be a two-step process. One, Kelly would solicit names. Two, she would create a ballot based on that solicitation, if I understand Kelly. And I believe that's how we did it in the past, Mr. Anderson. So I think you would get a package from Kelly that says, do you want to run? And you would say, and I don't mean to speak for you, yes, I do want to run. And then therefore the next correspondence would be a ballot that went to everybody that would in fact have your name on it. Correct, Kelly?
Okay,
Does that answer your question, Mr. Anderson?
it does, because that was my concern, that there'd be just one ballot, and if say, for instance, Bruce's name is the only name on the ballot, nobody's gonna know to put anybody else.
It's a very fair and legitimate question. You're essentially asking, and these are my words, not yours, we want to make sure we don't usurp the democratic process. It's a very fair question, and we have no intention of doing so, and every intention of allowing anyone, I'm speaking for the whole board, Mr. Chair, hope that's okay, every intention of allowing anyone that wants to run to do so.
Thank you.
And just to follow up on Mr. Anderson's first question was why an election wasn't done. And typically we do that in May, but this year due to COVID-19, we opted not to go through that process for exactly what we were just discussing. It was just logistically too hard to do. Based on the new requirements, we are going to do it or try to do it in December, but that's why it wasn't done last May.
Right. Completely agree with Mrs. McSweeney. We had a vote in May to say, even though we should have done it, we were deferring due to COVID. And so that was a decision that this whole board made. And Ms. McSweeney is 100% accurate. Yep.
That is correct. Mr. Anderson, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's all I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
participation, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Kelly, we also have a couple of other callers in attendance here. We have mobile attendees and two other callers. Do you have any idea who they are?
I do not. I know one of them is Bruce.
One of them is Gail. Gail's on twice as both a phone call and a computer.
Okay, so that's the two. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Moving along then. Where are we at? Yes. Our next meeting is,
No, payment.
okay. Go, Kelly.
So the fiscal 2021 payment standards have come out for Shrewsbury. They are below. They all went up, which is actually great. And it lets our Section 8 people find more affordable homes, and it wouldn't be more than their 40%. I'm asking the board to adopt the 2021 payment standards effective for October 2020.
So you need a motion?
Yeah, this needs a vote and a motion if I'm not mistaken.
It does.
It does. We have the old standard here somewhere, Kelly. So we know what we're moving it.
But I can tell you what the difference is between each bedroom.
Why don't you?
All right, the SRO, the 0-bedroom went up $50. The 1-bedroom went up $34. The 2-bedroom went up $52. The 3-bedroom went up $62, and the 4-bedroom went up $72.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or discussion on this? Okay, then we take a motion. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to approve the payment standards for fiscal 2021.
Second,
Second,
All right, Paul seconded that. We'll do a roll call vote. Paul Campanella,
aye.
Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Gail,
aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
and Richard Ricker votes aye, so it's unanimous.
Thank you.
That's good. What's next, Kelly?
The next is the publications for remove and replace 9 exterior doors and frames and related hardware, and this is happening at Elizabeth Gardens.
You did a walkthrough today?
Today, Gary was down there with Gwen, and only one contractor showed up,
Really?
really. And this was posted on Project Dog, Combis, the website, the Central Register.
What a shame.
It is.
Are we
So-
required to have more than one? Do we have to
So-
go to it again?
I didn't get to talk to Gwen. Gary's the one who told me only one contractor showed up. So I have an email to Gwen asking, does this get reposted? Because I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, you're doing the best you can. People don't show for these things. There's not much you can do about it. Next, Kelly?
The last is the 37 pages of the public housing notice 2020-30. This is the budget guidelines. It goes, everything that we have to do is in this budget guidelines. Everything that the accountant has to follow. And in here is everything you could possibly think of regarding salaries, maintenance, contracts. This is just informational, just letting you guys read the whole budget guideline.
Yep. So this is for all of us to study, and we'll have a test later.
Yes, people get that.
In light of the fact that there's going to be a 4% reduction, though, that can be kind of devastating to any housing authority. I don't know what it's going to do to the Shrewsbury Housing Authority, but it's going to be difficult for you to find places to reduce, Kelly.
I know.
But this overview, at least we can take a look at it and see. We'll prepare for James, I guess, right?
Yes, he's getting ready. So within the next couple of months, he'll be probably on this go-to meeting with us.
November and December, probably, right?
December, January.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments about this?
No.
No?
Okay. All right. Now, okay. Is there any other business come before the board? Kelly? Business, Kelly?
No,
All right. Our next meeting date is November 10th. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes,
Yeah, because November 3rd would be the election day, and that would be only 3 weeks from today. But I think if we do November 10th, and we have an interim emergency meeting in the next week or 10 days about the plan, and we have follow-on questions or what have you, and whatnot, we could plan on moving forward on a plan on the 10th, and that would give her 6 weeks versus hashing it out from the 10th. That's, so I know we discussed that already, but the 10th is fine. 4 o'clock on the 10th?
Yes.
yes, that's fine.
All right, and that'll be remotely again. Let me back up a little bit before we adjourn. Okay? Does anybody feel that there should be a subcommittee to assist Kelly if she needs it, putting this together?
I guess I would ask, Mr. Chair, does Kelly want a subcommittee to assist her with this?
I will take all the help I can get. Thanks, Cap.
Well, so then I guess, yes, I do think we need a subcommittee.
Well, I'm just, we should pick a couple of members of the board that would make themselves available should she need, to basically confer with you to determine whether it's going in the right direction. I mean, we all know what we need to do here, and we have to run a full, fair, and open election. I don't know how the heck we're going to do it, but Kelly's going to make a stab at. She'll take the first stab at it. But I think if we could have a subcommittee in place just in case she needs it, that would be helpful. Paul?
Sure, I'm happy to help. Cap, you want to do it with me, or I don't know who?
I don't mind doing it.
Whatever Kelly wants, I'm happy to help.
So the first thing that I would do is get a list of all the tenants. But you guys are not supposed to know all the tenants, so that we just need to backtrack a little bit. Is just mailing out to the 99 residents of federal public housing in the 173 residents. But it wouldn't even be 173 residents. It would only be the residents. No, it would be of
Everybody.
all the Section 8.
It would be everybody.
It would be.
Yeah.
So all together, it would be the. It'd be 272 mailings that will be going out. We just need to look at the time frame. How long are we going to give for those responses to come back?
I think you've got closer to 400 mailings to go. You've got Francis Gardens. You've got. What do you mean?
So this is only for federal. This economic bill has not passed yet. So this is what's coming up. So this is only for federal resident commissioner.
Oh, good freaking point. Are Section 8 federal or state?
Federal.
So it's the tower and family units aren't federal either, are they?
No.
So
So
Richard, this is not nearly as daunting as I thought 10 minutes ago. It just got literally cut in half. I mean, it's still a project and it's still daunting, but it's the tower and Section 8, right?
But this is what I've been doing for the past 4 years.
Okay.
So I'm okay with all this. I know we can do this. Just when when this economic bill passes, that's when it's going to be like, ugh. But this hasn't passed yet. This is what's coming down the pipeline, basically.
Well, when it does pass, we can request a waiver because we've just gone through our election process and we're in compliance.
And we have a federal resident person on the board, which will have preference over everything, over
That
state.
was clear to me. When I read it, it said federal has preference. Not a guarantee, but it has preference. But we still have to do that damn waiver. But so what? That's an administrative task that you have to run up to the town hall, back your eyelashes, fall on your sword, and hand them the waiver. I mean, I'm not making light of it, but that's the way it read it to me. Like the town, it's about liability. It's about the town saying we know we're in compliance. So maybe that isn't as daunting if we plan on doing the waiver once this gets passed.
So what we're talking about here is just not even allowing the state residents any say at all.
They have not had a say at all regarding, that's basically why Gail's on the board, because she's the state appointee. But it has never been a state resident on the board, and that's what the state residents have been screaming about. And I think this is why this economic bill is finally coming to head, is they're saying, when is this going to happen?
But it's still going to give the federal tenants priority.
That would sound reasonable because you have a state representative in the appointee and the federal people don't seem to have any representation other than just the general board. So I think that they deserve to get preference.
Okay.
Have the Section 8 residents been part of the election in the past? No.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yes? I'm sorry, Kelly. Sorry.
Yes, the mailings have gone out to Section 8 tenants,
I bet. Okay.
but the people here are the ones who have responded and said
Right.
who they wanted.
Right.
Kelly Bergeron can respond as a Section 8 tenant, but that's just one vote. Here, I've been getting 20 to 30 on one certain person.
So Kelly, the person that just joined our meeting, is he well regarded by you and the other tenants?
Oh, I don't know if we want to go there.
We can't talk about that.
Okay.
So Kelly, this election is basically what you've been doing every year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's really next year we're going to have to probably do a subcommittee to help you do the bigger one.
If and when that comes about, this could be another 4 more years.
Okay.
I think it's
So-
next
Okay.
year.
All right, so Kelly, for this year, you're going to do the list, you're going to send out the notices, you're going to get a time frame together for the election to happen, and you're going to figure out how to do the envelopes so that everybody's vote will be counted.
Correct. And the only one thing I want to know is, do we want to open up the envelopes on GoToMeeting?
Should be public, but it shouldn't be part, I don't know if it needs to be part of our meeting. I don't
Because
know.
only reason I say that is, in the past, I would have a resident and open them that way. I'm not having resident meetings in my community room.
Right.
So that's the only one thing I'm concerned about, is how we can do this fairly and open them up.
Could you do an open meeting for the residents? Technology might be hard, but if you invite them to attend and then record it, at least it's a matter of public record.
My community room is still closed, and that will probably still be closed till after the first of the year. That's what I'm hearing with all housing authorities.
No, I meant if you do this via open meeting, the website open meeting like we're doing here, so that it's people can log in if they have the technology, but at least it's been recorded.
Absolutely, we would do it like this, yes. And it would be passed out to all the residents and posted in the normal.
So then, you can do a Zoom.
You're breaking up.
So you can do a Google Meets meeting or Zoom with residents where they can watch you open up the ballots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
it's
the way-
recorded.
Yeah. So you guys don't want to be part of that?
Well, we're not in the same room, so you're going to be the only one able to open them. Either you and or someone with you.
I think you want someone else with you there, Kelly. So you and someone from your staff 6 feet away, or if you want it to be one of us 6 feet away, just so that there's more than one person in the room.
Perfect. That will be in the plan.
Okay.
Okay,
I would like to suggest you have at least one commissioner there. I think the commissioner should be represented.
Okay, so maybe a commissioner, a staff member, and Kelly. So there's 3.
Well, do we allow a resident to observe? There's, we're talking about total transparency.
I think everything just should be how we're doing the meetings. It should be posted. All the residents should know if they want to sign on, just like they can sign on to the meeting.
Okay. That's fine. Anybody else? We all set?
All set.
Okay. So Kelly, you've got some work to do there. The next meeting is November 10th at 4 o'clock. It'll be remote, and I think I'll take a motion to adjourn if we're all done.
Motion to
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the second, and we'll do a roll call vote. Paul Campanello, Kathy McSweeney,
Aye.
Bruce Pardee,
Aye.
Gail Vigent,
Aye.
and Richard Ricker says aye. Is this the last time with you, Gail?
No, I haven't. I'll be here for the November meeting.
Okay. All right. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Bye,
And
everybody.
Take care. Be safe.
you too, Bruce.